Yo, what's up guys, Lowercase Island here, aka the editor for this video. In fact, the editor for the YouTube channel. I just wanted to do like a little intro, to tell you guys that, I'm pretty new at making educational type content. So if you guys could give me some feedback on anything really, just put it in the comments or message me by joining our Discord, right? That'd be great. A little bit of context, this guy, his name is Shacobolic. He's an amazing coach. He's a jungle coach. He's also a Chaco one trick, but like in masters and challenger level. So he's not necessarily talking about a Chaco. He's talking about the whole overall jungle. So that's pretty good. This was also live streamed because we do live stream our coaching seminars. Think about it like seminars, like a TED Talk every Sunday. So yeah, that's what this is. So it's a little bit of a snippet from a seminar. Anyways, look forward for some more educational videos. I believe every Saturday. I know this is getting uploaded on Sunday, but it's gonna be every Saturday. And yeah, cool. I'll catch you guys later.
Without further ado, let's start with the first one, where I'm going to be explaining how to actually know what is the nature of your champion, right? Which category does it go to, right? And how to know what are we supposed to do early on, okay? Right now, we're gonna differentiate between all of them, right? What are the main differences? What are the different play styles that we need to understand if we want to play these certain categories, right? So there are three main categories that you guys need to know that exist when, understanding which of the junglers that you play actually go to which one, okay? So the first one is obviously going to be the early strong junglers. The second one is going to be early weak junglers, okay? I'm also going to be covering these guys also, explaining their play style, how to avoid being destroyed early game, how to survive, and all of that stuff together. And the last one I'm gonna call the neutral ones. This one is very controversial. Not everybody mentioned this ones, but I like to mention them. And these are usually the tanky ones, right? So neutral junglers are usually the tanky junglers that we need to be paying attention to. And I'm gonna also teach you today how are you supposed to play neutral junglers, how does their playstyle function if you're playing somebody which is tanky, a little bit supportive, okay? So let's start from the number one, which are the early strong junglers, okay? So what are the most common characteristics when it comes to early strong junglers? Well, the biggest thing that you need to know about them is that they have high risk when we play them, right? Why is it a high risk? Well, if you're playing a jungle which has a really bad scaling, right, that means that we're kind of forced in a way to perform early on, right, and then make something happen, right? Because with these guys, after getting and hitting level 3, if we don't manage to do as much around the map, right, we're better off playing these two categories, right? Because these guys are very high tempo, high risk junglers, which are usually being played in hard divisions, just because these junglers are unforgivable if we do not manage to overperform early game, right? So when it comes to the early strong junglers, what do? Get to level 3, right? Try to pressure the map as much as possible. And then obviously, once we start the snowball, just make sure we're going to be able to close the game as soon as possible, right? Some of those junglers are Lee Sin, Jarvan, Elise, Vi, Shaco. None of these junglers have a good scaling. Therefore, they need to perform early game. They need to have a good game plan of getting to level 3 and then knowing exactly who do they want to play for and where do they want to make their repeat ganks in order to win their games, okay? Obviously, I'm going to touch on that a little bit more also later in comparison to these other categories. Right now, let's explain the early weak junglers. Well, early weak junglers are complete contrary to these guys. What do they like to do? Well, they like to full clear, right? These guys, since, they're early weak, they have way better scaling, right? They have good scaling. Let's write that down. Scaling, right? And since they have a good scaling, it means that they need to survive the early game, right? Try somehow to get to later stages of the game and then pop off, right? Just because of the nature of their champion, right? Who are some of the guys that we know of the junglers which are extremely weak early on, but as the game progresses, they become super OP, right? Overpowered and are being able to 1v9 just because of the nature of their champion. Well, who is one of those? Evelyn, right? Evelyn, one of the early weakest junglers, always gets invaded, always gets punished if she has a bad clear. Who else? Fiddlesticks. We have Fiddlesticks. All of these guys usually like to take at least 2 full clears, right? Get their XP, right? Leverage their XP, get to level 6 as soon as possible, right? And then obviously after that, just terrorize the map as much as possible, while on contrary, early strong jungler's job is to terrorize the map as much as they possibly can before level 6, before these guys are able to, get back into the game and start doing the stuff, right? So, early weak junglers, Evelyn, Fiddlesticks, who do we also know, Cartus, right? All of these guys who like to full clear, who like to double down on their XP and then survive the early game. Kha'Zix also, right? Kha'Zix, all of the guys you can mention, which are super early weak early on, but as the game progresses, they get better and better. What is the last one? The last one, as I already mentioned previously, are going to be some tanky junglers, right? What do we know about them? Well, the thing about the tanky junglers is these guys are perfect for low elo. Why are they perfect for low elo? Because they're low risk. Why are they low risk? Because even if you underperform early game, it doesn't really matter. Why does it not matter? Well, you're always going to be annoying. You're always going to be tanky. You're always going to be stunning the enemies compared maybe to early strong junglers. With early strong junglers, if we don't manage to do anything early game, you're going to fall off after 20th minute, right? So pretty much after 20th minute, you will fail, right? While these guys will blossom after the 20th minute. So complete contrast in these two categories. And then in the end, neutral guys, low risk, right? Because they're also supportive type of the guys, right? Supportive. They're obviously not going to be always the playmakers. So who are one of these junglers? Well, it's Amumu, right? With Amumu, there's no super insane mechanics, just making sure we hit our Q. Who else? Sejuani, she's also kind of tanky. Who can also be here? Zac, right? And also Ramos. We have Mr. Ramos, right? When it comes to the neutral junglers, there is the one thing that I actually forgot to mention is that they have okay scaling. They're not super strong or anything. They're going to be supportive and everything. But when it comes to them, they don't need to full clear, okay? They can pretty much play both to the playstyle. They can play early weak playstyle and they can play early strong playstyle in terms of clearing their camps, right? Because Amumu can always take his red, Krugs, red, and then gank bot side, gank middle, depending on where the enemy jungler also started, and who did he decide he wants to gank early on, and then which lanes actually give him the best return on investment on visiting them, and is there even an opportunity for us to go on that particular lane and make a gank there? Okay, these are all the things we need to be paying attention to and thinking of. Okay, so early week neutral guys have very flexible clears. They don't need to go for the full clear, but they also don't need to keep all of the camps. They can go for a couple of the camps, but they can also full clear. It's going to be completely dependent on what the map is telling us at a certain moment, and we're just going to be reacting to that same information. So let's make a little summary what you guys need to remember with differentiating these different junglers, right? And their different play styles. So if you guys are playing early strong junglers and you're playing versus early weak guys, your job is to invade these guys and harass them as much as possible alongside their teammates also, because if you let these guys hit level 6, farm at least 2 times, they're full clear, you're not gonna have fun time, after 20th minute once they start outscaling you. So your job is to basically hit on them early on, right? Invade them as much as possible, avoid their buffs, and make their life miserable with not letting them play for any type of the objectives, okay? If you're playing early weak junglers in comparison to these two categories, you want to pretty much avoid everybody, right? You want to avoid everybody at all costs. You want to be ganking early on only after you're full clear, and if you see that enemy laners are pretty much begging you to get ganked. If they're not begging to get ganked, if there's no opportunity, obviously play for your strategy. It's gonna pay off. It just believe the process, farm your camps, get them to be good, right? And then you're going to be able to outscale both of these two categories. If you're playing neutral junglers, you need to be okay with being, I wouldn't like to call it side character of your game, but you're not gonna be definitely a jungler such as Kha'Zix, such as maybe Evelyn, Shaco, those ones who are able to 1v9, but you're gonna be there to actually help your team, maybe help out your Vayne, get the kills, get the assists mainly, give the kills to your main characters such as AP carry or on the mid lane, or the AD carry onto the bot side. So to come back to our program, right? Understand the playstyle of your champion, right? In loading screen, analyze your jungle matchup, right? Not only you need to understand in which of these brackets does your jungler fit, right? But you also want to be thinking about the enemy jungler, right? And then correlation. If you're playing early strong, enemy jungler playing early weak, then bully him as much as possible early on. If it is vice versa, try to survive, try to play with your laners to kind of protect you, use the wards in a good spots, and try to survive, play for the longer game, and then outscale everybody and destroy them into the mid/late game, right? So yeah, understand, like, see if they're early weak, strong, or neutral, right? This is important because you want to know if you're going to be able to fight the enemy jungler early on or not. Maybe at a skull crab, maybe just generally speaking, wherever you meet him, right? Because if you're playing early weak guy, and then like you're pathing top lane, and the enemy jungler is also pathing top lane, and it's gonna end up, being a 2v2 top lane, well, you definitely know that you're not gonna win that, especially if, maybe you also have a scaling top laner, or let's say the enemy top laners are kind of the same champions, maybe such as Jax versus Fiora or Irelia or Camille, something like that. But then like you're playing Evelyn, you're not gonna have as much fun playing versus Lee Sin, So you definitely want to probably recall or just go for your Skull Crab and avoid the early strong jungler at all costs.